You are not lacking time, talent, or opportunity. You are losing your life in pieces every time your focus drifts away from what truly matters. Time is one of the most silent forces in your life. It does not warn you. It does not pause for you. It does not slow down when you are confused, distracted, or unsure. It simply keeps moving forward, whether you are aware of it or not. And this is where most people make a serious mistake. They assume they still have plenty of time. So they delay important things. They postpone discipline. They keep pushing growth, change, and responsibility into a future version of life that never really arrives the way they imagined. Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months. And months quietly turn into years. But because the changes are gradual, the mind doesn't feel the loss happening in real time. Instead, life feels like it is always about to start. You tell yourself, I will focus later. I will become serious next month. I will change when the timing is right. And without realizing it, you enter a cycle where focus is always delayed but never fully activated. Meanwhile, time is still moving, not loudly, not dramatically, but consistently. And while you are busy waiting for the perfect moment, life is quietly becoming the result of all the moments you ignored. This is the part people don't notice early enough. Distraction doesn't feel dangerous while you are inside it. It feels normal. It feels harmless. It feels like something temporary. But over time, distraction becomes identity. You start getting used to low focus. You start normalizing inconsistency. You start living in mental noise instead of clarity. And, suddenly, even important things don't feel urgent anymore. Not because they are less important, but because your attention has been trained to drift. And this drifting mind slowly disconnects you from real progress. Because progress requires awareness. It requires direction. It requires focus that stays long enough to build something meaningful. But when your attention is constantly scattered, on your phone, on thoughts, on unnecessary worries, on random distractions, your life becomes fragmented. You are always doing something but rarely building something, and that creates a strange feeling inside. You feel busy, but not fulfilled. You feel active, but not progressing. You feel occupied, but not growing. And deep inside, you start sensing that time is slipping away, even if you cannot clearly explain why. Because your results begin showing what your attention has been doing in silence. That is why awareness becomes so important. Not just awareness of time, but awareness of how you are using each moment. Because time does not ask for permission before it moves forward. It does not wait for clarity. It does not pause until you feel ready. It simply continues. And the only thing you truly control is where your attention goes while it is passing. When you begin realizing this, something shifts internally. You start valuing small moments more. Seriously, you begin noticing how quickly hours are lost without intention. You become more conscious of what you are feeding your mind every day. And slowly, your relationship with time changes. You stop treating it casually. You stop assuming unlimited chances. You stop postponing important decisions without reason. Because now you understand something deeper. Time is not just passing outside of you. It is shaping you from within, based on what you consistently choose to focus on. And the moment you fully realize that every distracted moment is still a moment of your life being written, is the moment you begin taking focus seriously. Before, time turns unnoticed days into irreversible direction. Your attention is not just something you use. It is something that creates your entire reality quietly, moment by moment. Most people never realize this. They think life is shaped by big events, big decisions, or major turning points. But in reality, life is shaped first by where your attention goes every single day. Because whatever you consistently focus on becomes the foundation of your thoughts. And your thoughts slowly build your emotional state, your decisions, your habits, and eventually your future. This is why attention is your real currency. Not money, not time alone. But attention, because attention decides how you use time and how you build value from it. Think about it carefully. If your attention is constantly scattered, your mind becomes scattered. When your mind becomes scattered, your decisions become inconsistent. And when your decisions become inconsistent, your results also become unstable. But when your attention is focused, something completely different happens. Your thinking becomes clearer. Your emotions become more stable. Your actions become more intentional. And over time, this creates direction in your life instead of confusion. That is why focus is so powerful. It quietly shapes everything without asking for permission. But most people lose their attention throughout the day without even noticing it. They wake up with intention, but within minutes, their focus is pulled in different directions. Social media, unnecessary conversations, random thoughts, worries about things that haven't even happened yet. All of these compete for the same limited mental space. And slowly, your attention gets divided into fragments. One part of your mind is thinking about the future, another part is stuck in the past, and another part is reacting to the present. And when your attention lives everywhere at once, your life feels like it is going nowhere in particular. This is where confusion begins. Not because you are incapable, but because your attention is not stable long enough to build anything meaningful. Because deep progress requires sustained focus. It requires your mind to stay with one direction long enough for real development to happen. But when attention keeps shifting, nothing gets enough energy to grow properly. And this is why many people feel like they are busy but not progressing. Their attention is constantly active but not concentrated. They are doing many things but building very little that actually lasts. And over time, this creates frustration. Because deep inside you feel like you are always moving but never arriving anywhere meaningful. But the truth is, your life is already reflecting your attention pattern. If your attention is mostly on distractions, your life becomes distracted. If your attention is mostly on fear, your life becomes limited by fear. If your attention is mostly on growth, your life slowly begins to expand in that direction. So attention is not passive, it is directional. It decides what your mind feeds on. And what your mind feeds on becomes the emotional tone of your entire day. This is why focus is not just a skill, it is a form of self-control. Because every time you bring your attention back from distraction, you are training your mind to stay aligned with what truly matters. And slowly, this changes your identity. You stop being someone who reacts to everything. You become someone who chooses what deserves attention. And that shift is powerful, because it means you are no longer being pulled through life unconsciously. You are guiding it intentionally. And the moment you realize that your attention is not just something you lose throughout the day, but the very force shaping your thoughts, your emotions, and your future, is the moment you begin protecting it like the most valuable resource you have ever been given. Comfort is one of the most deceptive forces in a person's life. It does not destroy you suddenly. It does not feel dangerous in the beginning. In fact, it feels safe, familiar, and emotionally easy. And that is exactly why it is so powerful. Because it slowly convinces you to stay where you are instead of becoming who you could be. Most people don't realize when comfort starts controlling them. It begins in small decisions. Choosing ease over effort. Choosing delay over discipline. Choosing what feels good now instead of what builds something better later. At first it seems harmless. You tell yourself you're just resting, just taking a break, just waiting for the right time. But slowly, those temporary comforts become a lifestyle, and without noticing, your growth starts slowing down. Comfort teaches the mind to avoid discomfort, but growth only exists on the other side of discomfort. So, every time you choose emotional ease over challenge, you're also choosing to stay in the same place mentally, even if life is moving forward externally. And this creates a hidden conflict inside, because a part of you still wants more. More success, more clarity, more confidence, more progress. But another part of you keeps choosing what feels easy in the moment. And this internal contradiction slowly creates frustration. You start feeling stuck, even when you are not completely inactive. You are doing things but not challenging yourself enough to actually evolve. You are moving, but not stretching beyond your current limits, and that is the real danger of comfort. It keeps you functional, but prevents you from becoming exceptional. Because growth requires discomfort. It requires uncertainty. It requires moments where you feel stretched, challenged, and slightly uneasy. But those exact moments are where transformation begins. Yet the mind naturally resists them. It prefers repetition over change, familiarity over risk, predictability over uncertainty. And so it quietly pulls you back toward what feels safe, even if that safety is limiting your future. And over time, this creates a silent decline in potential. Not because you stopped completely, but because you stopped pushing yourself beyond what is comfortable. You stop learning new things because it feels mentally tiring. You avoid difficult decisions because they create stress. You delay important actions because they feel uncomfortable in the moment. And slowly, your life begins shrinking within the boundaries of ease. But comfort never tells you it is limiting you. It feels like peace, even when it is preventing progress. That is why it is so dangerous, and it disguises stagnation as stability. Meanwhile, growth always feels slightly uncomfortable at the beginning. It requires effort, discipline, and the willingness to face resistance. But that resistance is not a sign to stop. It is a sign that you are moving beyond your current version. The people who grow the most are not those who always feel ready. They are the ones who act even when it feels uncomfortable. They are the ones who choose discipline over temporary ease. They are the ones who push through emotional resistance instead of retreating into comfort. And over time, that builds strength. Because every time you choose growth over comfort, you expand your capacity. Your mind becomes stronger. Your discipline deepens. Your confidence increases naturally because you are proving to yourself that you can handle discomfort and still move forward. And that changes everything. Because now comfort no longer controls your decisions, awareness does. You stop asking, what feels easy right now, and start asking, what will help me grow into who I am meant to become? And the moment you stop letting comfort quietly decide your limits and finally start choosing growth even when it feels uncomfortable is the moment your life begins expanding beyond the boundaries you once believed were permanent. One of the most silent forms of self-sabotage is not what people do wrong. It is what they keep postponing. Most people do not fail because they lack ability. They fail because they delay becoming who they are capable of becoming. Every day there is a version of you that is slightly more disciplined, more focused, more confident, more aware. A version of you that makes better decisions, thinks more clearly, and moves with more intention. But that version does not appear instantly. It only begins to exist when you start acting in alignment with it. And this is where most people get stuck. They keep waiting for motivation. They keep waiting for the perfect timing. They keep waiting for clarity before action. But clarity does not come before movement. It comes through movement. So while they are waiting, they are actually delaying transformation. And slowly, without realizing it, they are postponing the strongest version of themselves into an imaginary future that never truly arrives. Because every time you delay discipline, you delay identity change. Every time you avoid discomfort, you delay growth. Every time you postpone action, you delay progress. And the mind becomes comfortable with delay. It starts saying, I will start tomorrow. I will change when I feel ready. I will become serious later. But later keeps moving further away, and meanwhile, life is still moving forward. The days you delay are not empty. They are shaping your future silently, because time does not pause for readiness. It continues building outcomes based on what you repeatedly do and what you repeatedly avoid. And this is why delay is so powerful. It does not feel like failure in the moment, but it creates long-term consequences that become visible later. You begin noticing that the things you wanted to achieve still feel far away. Not because they are impossible, but because consistent action was replaced with repeated postponement. And over time, this creates internal frustration. Because deep inside, you know you are capable of more. You feel it. You sense it. but your actions are not fully aligned with that potential. And that gap between potential and action becomes uncomfortable. But instead of closing that gap, most people live inside it. They stay in awareness without execution. They stay in intention without discipline. They stay in thought without movement. And that creates a feeling of being stuck, even though life is still moving. But here is the truth that changes everything. You do not become your future self by thinking about them. You become them by slowly acting like them today, even in small ways, one decision at a time, one disciplined moment at a time, one focused action at a time. Because identity is not built in big moments. It is built in repeated small choices, and every time you choose discipline over delay, you are quietly closing the distance between who you are and who you are capable of becoming. But every time you postpone, that distance grows again. Not dramatically, not visibly, but silently. And that is why delay feels harmless in the moment, but costly in the long run. Because it slowly trains your mind to avoid becoming what requires effort. So the real question is not whether you are capable of change. It is whether you are willing to stop delaying the actions that would already be transforming you. And the moment you stop postponing discipline, stop waiting for perfect conditions, and finally begin acting as the version of yourself you know you are meant to become, even in small, consistent steps, is the moment your future stops being delayed and starts becoming real through your present actions. Most people underestimate how powerful small decisions really are. They assume life changes only through big moments, big opportunities, big risks, big breakthroughs. But in reality, your entire future is being shaped quietly by decisions that seem so small you barely notice them. The choice to wake up on time or delay it. The choice to focus or get distracted. The choice to take responsibility or avoid it. The choice to act today or postpone it again. Individually, these moments feel insignificant, but together, they create the structure of your entire life. Because your life is not built in one day. It is built by repetition, and repetition turns small decisions into identity. Most people don't see this clearly in the moment. They think, one day of laziness doesn't matter, one distraction doesn't matter, one skipped opportunity doesn't matter, and technically they are right. One moment alone doesn't define your life. But the problem is not the moment itself. The problem is the pattern it creates, because every small decision is a signal to your mind, a signal about what you accept, what you allow, and what you prioritize. And over time, your mind starts following those signals automatically. If you repeatedly choose distraction, your mind becomes comfortable with distraction. If you repeatedly choose delay, your mind becomes comfortable with delay. If you repeatedly choose ease over effort, your mind begins resisting effort. And slowly, without realizing it, your standards begin changing, not dramatically, not suddenly, but quietly. You stop expecting more from yourself. You stop pushing yourself the way you once did. You start accepting lower levels of effort as normal, and this is how people drift away from their potential without even noticing it. But the opposite is also true. Small, disciplined decisions also build identity. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you strengthen your ability to concentrate. Every time you choose action over delay, you strengthen your sense of responsibility. Every time you choose effort over comfort, you expand your capacity for growth. And over time, these small actions accumulate into something powerful, a disciplined identity, because discipline is not built in extremes. It is built in consistency. Most people look for motivation to change their life, but motivation is temporary. What truly changes your life is the pattern of decisions you repeat when no one is watching, when no one is forcing you, and when there is no immediate reward. That is where your real character is formed, and eventually your future does not reflect your intentions. It reflects your patterns. This is why two people with the same potential can end up living completely different lives, not because one had more opportunity, but because one made slightly better decisions repeatedly over time. And those slight differences compound silently, day by day, choice by choice, moment by moment. until one day the gap becomes visible. And that is when people suddenly realize their future was not decided in one big moment. It was built through countless small decisions they didn't take seriously at the time. But the good news is that the same system works in reverse. Because if small, negative decisions can quietly shape a weak future, then small positive decisions can quietly shape a powerful one. And that is where real change begins. Not in waiting for a big opportunity, but in changing how you respond to small, everyday moments right now. And the moment you stop underestimating your small decisions and finally begin treating each one as a building block of your future, identity is the moment your life begins shifting in a direction you will one day recognize as the result of discipline you chose long before success appeared. Focus is the invisible force that connects your present moment to the life you are capable of living. Most people underestimate it because it does not feel powerful in the beginning. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It does not show instant results. But over time, it becomes the most defining factor in your entire life. Because focus is not just about what you are doing. It is about what you are becoming while you are doing it. Every moment you focus on something, you are feeding it energy. And whatever receives your consistent attention begins to grow in your mind. If your focus is scattered, your life becomes scattered. If your focus is clear, your life slowly begins to align. But most people do not live with focus. They live with constant mental fragmentation. One part of their mind is thinking about the future. Another part is stuck in the past. Another part is reacting to the present. And because attention is divided, progress becomes weak and inconsistent. You may be doing many things, but nothing feels deeply developed. You may be staying busy, but not truly building anything strong. And over time, this creates a silent frustration, the feeling that you are moving but not truly advancing. But focus changes this completely, because when your attention becomes stable, your actions become powerful. Instead of doing many things, with low energy you begin doing fewer things with full awareness. And that is where real transformation begins. Focus allows depth, and depth is where mastery grows. When you focus on something consistently, your mind begins understanding it more deeply. You start noticing details others miss. You begin improving faster because your energy is not scattered across multiple directions. And slowly, your results start changing. But focus is not just external. It is internal discipline. It is the ability to bring your mind back every time it tries to wander. It is the ability to stay with one direction even when distractions feel easier. It is the ability to remain mentally present instead of emotionally scattered. And this is where most people struggle, not because they lack ability, but because they lack mental control. The world today is designed to pull your attention in multiple directions at once. Constant notifications, constant distractions, constant noise. And if you do not consciously protect your focus, your attention gets consumed without awareness. And when attention is consumed without direction, life starts feeling empty even when it is full of activity. But when you begin to protect your focus, something changes inside you. You start feeling more in control, your thoughts become more stable, your decisions become clearer, your actions become more intentional. And over time, this creates alignment between who you are and what you are doing. Because focus is not just about productivity, it is about direction. It decides whether your energy is building something meaningful or being scattered into temporary distractions. And the more you protect it, the stronger your mind becomes. You begin noticing that you are no longer easily pulled into unnecessary things. You become more aware of where your time and energy are going. And this awareness itself creates power, because awareness leads to choice, and choice leads to change. And eventually, you realize that focus is not something you find. It is something you practice every single time you decide to return your attention back to what truly matters. And the moment you stop allowing your attention to drift aimlessly and finally begin directing your focus with intention, discipline, and awareness is the moment your potential stops remaining hidden and starts turning into real transformation through everything you choose to do next. And the moment you take control of your focus and stop letting distractions decide, your direction is the moment your entire life finally starts moving with purpose instead of noise.